The bewitching moon, I'm the silent siren who sings the tips of your fingers as if they were ears, as you touch blades of my ribs. Secrets held by seemingly empty eye sockets lure you to whisper mysteries so beautiful. Mad hearts that rage calm themselves and listen. You talk of peace. That is the beautiful concept that brings calm to mad hearts. What is beautiful is that which brings peace. Beautiful is peacefulness of beasts. Beautiful is the breeze over the peaceful seas. Peace is fertile ground for grace. Grace is background for love. Love is important to life. All is love, love, love. اوریان چون اسکلت ماهی روی ساحل می آوردم خانه پشت پنجره می گذاردم. گاهی که آفتاب لمس می کندم زندگی که بود گویی خمیازه می کشد. آن عالی سپید کلسیوم که ماهی بود. من کاملم چون سحر ماه. من حوری دریایی ساکتی که برای سرانگشتانت آواز می‌خواند که گویی آنها گوشند. وقتی تیغ دنده‌هایم را لمس می‌کند رازهای خفته در گودی چشم‌های گویی خالی وامی داردش به پچ سر زیبایی که بدان دلهای دیوانه آرام می‌کنند خویش را. و به گوش از صلح بگو. صلح است آن مفهوم زیبا که آرامش بر دلهای دیوانه آورد. زیباست آرامش ددان. زیباست نسیم بر دریای آرام. صلح است خاک بارور رحمت و ناز انسان. رحمت و ناز زمینه عشقند. عشق است زندگی. زندگی عشق است. عشق را پاسدار. The night is my father, out on dusty roads, in and out of grass, under a heavenly moon, around water. It juggles its dark brush to equally branch out, to you, to me, to us. The moon is my mother. I dwell in her caves. I'm born again and again as moonlight that pales his escapes. When I dance on tops of silver leaves of linden, I create the magic that makes you fall in love with the moon, with nature, with all existence, with the stranger who brought you to the moonflower garden. Love becomes your creed. A kind of moon madness becomes your worship. Then you dance like a mystic to the lure, to the tunes of the night under a full moon, full of longing to be one, yet at union. Distinguished guest, to boast of miracles, how long will your gaunt reason establish itself superior to milestone wit? Catastrophe-prone thief of chartered dreams, you come lucid one day, bare and symbolic. Next, you forget the major trick that gets your audience charged, accepting the thing that is your it. Your ruinous majesty stiffens many a grace that shall not bow to unconventions, that makes you the one to bring the message from the mountain peaks, and yet they drop their eyes at the sight you represent. Witness your untarnished gaiety turn into rapture, then into tears, musing, sorrows of arrogance, wasting no proclamation on banned mutinies. Gifted sultan of musical beasts, you shall transform spider in cleft of Johns and build a silk road. From banal dreams they weave of major highway robberies that make the evening news in such a way that some think you win. This is a poem to the filmmaker who made Twin Peaks. What's his name?
David Lynch.
David Lynch, yes. What is life? This empty fever doesn't become fire. Why? To burst from my mouth, to become a fire eater, safe from the cold, my night bright, my body warm, alone among the circle of people, my warm breath be theirs. I am alive of this fire, of this smoke that rises and returns like a pigeon, tame with friend. زندگی چیست این تب تو خالی؟ چرا آتش نمی شود از دهانم بزند بیرون؟ آتش خار شوم از دست سرما در امان، شبم روشن تنم گرم، تنهای تنها وسط دایره مردم. دم گرمم ارزانیشان، من زندم به این آتش، به این دود که برمیخیزد و برمیگردد مثل کفتری که رام است به رفیق. Wednesday is spacious. Within my vocal cords, Wednesday, an ardent breeze chirps and maintains a note. Spring to spring, Wednesday, the clinging Buddha finds the emptiness he seeks in spaciousness after a choir breathes. The sulky baby nemesis chapped on the lips begins to soften bit by bit, and I sit down to my tears, but come up empty-handed from wells that threaten to erupt into my dry evenings. This poem doesn't have an English translation, unfortunately. It's about, the first part is about Forough Farrokhzad, who is a poet, an Iranian Persian woman poet, and the second part is for Behruz Wusuqi, who was this hotshot actor in the 70s. Briefly explained, the first part says there's smell of water, boiling water, there's smell of steaming rice. And this woman poet made a film about Jozam. What is Jozam? Leprosy.
Leprosy.
And it really took off, and so there's a reference to that there, but I'll translate it later and send it to you guys. بوی جوشاب، بوی دمچای، بوی اون همه کاغذ، بوی جوهر، بوی خستگی از زار زندگی، بوی خوابهای دور و دراز، بوی شعر مثل گل شبو، بوی عشق تخلص، بوی عشق، بوی حال، بوی جزام. کدام گل شبو اشک ریز است این چنان. تو سالهای 70 تو خیابونا راه رفتن، یه سیگار از لب آویزون، سینه لباس چاک، دنبال دختر، مطلق گفتن به اونا که نمیدن راه، از شب فرار کردن تو آغوش کوکائین، هروئین، الکل. زندگی زیباست وقتی که تو یه ستاره سینماست. وقتی از زندگی انتظاری نداری به جز ماجرا، بالای سرت خورشید قرار گل کنه، اون وقت میشی آزاد، به مسیحی فکر میکنی که داره میاد. آخه اینم شد آزادی، داری خفقان میگیری. اون وقت زمزمه ها بلند شدن، دق و دوغ، شاه افتاد، دق و دوغ. 1 ماه شاید 2 ماه نفس کشیدی، بعدش کشور رو ترک کردی، شدی آواره روزگار. After a poem becomes writing a poem and throwing it to the wind, to hear it come back as a song. A siren of wind sings after it travels marshes and grasslands full of poppies, after it is drenched by perfumed rains of the south, after it is caught in the throat of Venus' flytrap, after it is rescued by a bee that gets away and takes it to its honeycomb to be blessed by the queen bee, after the bear swallows it and with that sweet tongue licks her cup's fur, which then roadside thorns pluck, after it goes like dandelion from house to house, after a child blows at it with enthusiasm of childhood wishes, after it becomes lush, mysterious and deep, it comes out of that siren's throat, after she spies on me, spy on you, and falls in love with you, my love. Travel Me, Bisutun is a historical monument in east of Persia. West of Persia, yes. And it's a big destination for tourists and those who love Iran. Travel me along the road to Bisutun, where I have a tryst with poets, where Lorca just arrived, fresh on horse, where Mary Magdalene awaits to give him the kiss, where Mayakovsky washes the wound, where Hilda D smells the earth and sends it via breath to O'Keeffe, where Farouk smokes her cigarette without regret, where Shamlu recovers from torture, where Moss trends, where Wallace Stevens is a tourist, where only revolutionary poets meet in gatherings, all else stand as individuals, caused from America, where barefoot poets come weary of feet, where translucent energy centers, where Keats breaks into tears, for this is purgatory for young souls who were on their way to heaven. And if a living poet shows up there, be sure he has experienced death. Here flows a river from a pond, here grows an oasis of trees, heavy bark and thin bark. Here bring the silent their dakhil. Dakhil is what you wrap around the tree when you're asking for a wish, those wishing trees. It's a Middle Eastern thing. Here bring they their quests. A tongue chaser would grow silent here. Here the ghosts bring only truths, no rumors. Here in Mesopotamia of my mind, gather all poets great and small to wonder at their art in peace, to lift the curses that discard, to break spells that bind tongues. Here meet poets of all creed, to sing a chorus finally to peace, to love, to elegant verboseness, to love and poetry, bride and groom, love the bride, poetry, groom. Here sing they in stillness of the air, here begin they to shift from silence. There are ages packed into the clock. A clock is a thief of time, something from a different age where we are out of some age. Maybe the age of analysis is over, and now we have to live a life worth living. We stand in line to pick rolls from a hat, not like gypsies hyping the thing, very refined, we're dancers. We will create a theater of art and dance. Art is our creed. Callous shapeshifter from some undeclared land, the burst of grapes in your eyes is rude, the sour outlook and the hemmed in boldness that sacrifices for shame and art's soul are all ruder than an activist who fights for the wrong cause. Ah, petitioner of tears, grazed meadow of murdered sheep, there is no solace in your petition, and no more are mothers awaiting under skies that deliver ammunition to count your decision as cold, cold. You ramble, and cognizant Mongols rip you to shreds. Now the Mongols, because there was a Mongol invasion of Iran and they did a lot of treachery, so this is like a nod to history. You ramble, and cognizant Mongols rip you to shreds because that's what they do. They breathe their breath of violence onto dead limbs, and briefly the hatred lifts. You stumble on something worth living for, but alas, it will all tilt to the other side with science and mouth and the ones who shine more than any wimpy self-contained brute who will privatize misery and burn on heaps of coal its future so dimmed. Goblins and other kinds weep. You have a nest from which ardor grows, a lapsed destiny and tiny moles with which a body's geography are told. You pay with pop artistry until your lips are blue cold, and the lights in the theater dim on your ardent mold. There is an angry mention that rhymes with rage. There is a slice of thought that goes berserk. Loads of ammunition, think of young blood, the full moon moans, not knowing how to weep its teardrops. This is about the war going on right now. A woman with a black scarf passes through scenes of the city. Her head is on a mantelpiece, her feet in a ditch, but she moves seeking her head to translocate her thoughts. She had lost the house, but finds it, knocks at the door. A man with cruel eyes opens the door. Her smile freezes on her lips. With a scarce voice, she says hello. Behind her, the door bangs that the walls shake. She sees her head, little sweet poems, her thoughts that swim there. Death sits across the room. She pays the bribe man once, put the head on top of her head and goes, passes through scenes of the city, enters a grave, crawls inside a death. She wants to think of revenge, but her stupid black scarf is in the way. She's a sober woman, she's alone, a rotund shadow in the night. She thinks of the lock of that spell that keeps those little beautiful poems prisoner. A woman who puts head upon head from the arms of another death, doubtfully smiles at blinking of a star. This poem is called Miss Julie. Miss Julie was a play by Augustus Strindberg. I'm not sure exactly where he was from, but I saw a movie of this, and it was about class relations, so it will show in the poem, I guess. Visit the depths of me. Bring a point to cause pain in midst of my numb emptiness. It is midsummer. I have danced and pricked myself on sharp thorns of common folks. This possibility of love is far from my grasp and the protruding. Dreams live according to class in my imagination. Yours is a hopeless dream and mine a fall from grace. How shallow to love a man who feels his dreams but acts according to his fears. Rescue me from the dream. Rescue you from the consequence. Feeding on beauty and the tantalizing environment of peace, feeding on obsolete thoughts stored in the trunk, feeding on random melancholy of dust, feeding on high-cast cobwebs that cheek me with their sticky lust, feeding on beauty and the translucent whispers that creep between the hours, weeping to sounds that come out of human mouths, so beautiful I feel lost. Feeding on menagerie of mildewed facade, feeding on cheerful collapse of the invisible yet palpable poses that destabilize, feeding and grinning the lost cause, feeling hope, hopeful and hopeless at the same time. Make way for capture of drums, the crash of the fire to which it exposes you. Make way for the gift of ashes that reduces you from your throne. Make way for a sensible magician, that the one who shall appear food in time of hunger, in time of rare advice, in time when you're groaning, windowless, sky is yellow. Make way for fog and horn to cover eye and ear from nature's unkind folly. The earth binds, the shoal backslides with confidence. Who collects dole and buries it in necropolis? The queen with Mongol hair, who shifts sinews in and out of sequence. Anonymous prophetess calls the populace, extols the modest exhibitionist. What vision seeks Pericles of her as she returns fresh from Heliopolis? Mind like hard cold through little trips, chastity prevails, and a soul muse inspires double consequence. They open the sarcophagus to wreak out the corpse. Cognizance of a blood-curdling hate vouches they pay indemnity for damage control. In the meanwhile, the shoal comes to meet the daily fisherman's goal, who knows nothing of their reckless opulence. When he throws a net, he catches 7 sins, which he will bless with 7 innocents. Sylvia. This poem is for Sylvia Plath. From her vision comes eclipse. One slips into cobwebbed cylinder of her sight to find the apothecary dimmed. Tambourine maidens of May, barefooted, bare-breasted, long-haired, have nothing to shake at her. Her voice somber in moldy passages, and not one teardrop to star the pond for the fish-eye. She walks the cabbage patch to her house of nightmares and sings her lullabies that shift the air and makes it cringe. Not one smile runs the corner of her mouth to tell that she is mad. She girds madness in place and rides nimbus round around to its dark secrets. Her acolytes feast on myrtle berries like birds in winter and sleep under moats to keep an eye on her underworld. Assuage. Crimped from mandatory tutelage, trumped by lack of courage, a lake in which the fish dream of the voyage. If we could assuage the blind mock, resurrection would occur under silence of algae and moss, and smiles sweeter than full moon when one has horns would appear on their faces, the damned creases. But oh, the little kisses break covenants, and the city would breed its new race. A sobering. Swish, swish, I hear a sobering. I hear Brother Moon talk back to the bray, and the hunter's arrows end in a world where gasping apes begin to resolve their mystery. There's boredom at the center of the gift, and broken spears jar bohemian flesh gone asleep on a heap of lollipop-tongued wolves, whose howling seems like a new symphony to listen to. Mocked and truncated, the gift seeks shades from a light that the heat of which burns places where new phrases are to burst. Your gift, which wilts among the roses, poses unlikely forms on environs, deprives shadows of surprises of color, like a pair of eyes when shut, curtains fall with a sudden gust. Your gift sits by trumpets on knives' edge, sticky and red by a crime of pomegranate. Daydreams come through your gift that break the partition, distract Puritan work ethic and inhibition. I place them on belongings unvisited. It may remain for years. Every once in a while, I will put a kiss on its lips. In its warm place under the cozy, secrets will develop that I will catch in sleep. I will tell you about them in unsent love letters and poems. So the last poem is a poem by Hafiz, the Persian poet from what century was he?
13th century.
13th. And I've translated it. I will read it in Persian first. راهیست راه عشق که هیچش کناره نیست، آنجا جز آن که جان بسپارند چاره نیست. هرگه که دل به عشق دهی خوشدمی بود، در کار خیر حاجت هیچ استخاره نیست. ما را ز منع عقل مترسان و می بیار، کان شهر در ولایت ما هیچ کاره نیست. از چشم خود بپرس که ما را که می کشد، جانا گناه طالع و جرم ستاره نیست. او را به چشم پاک توان دید چون حلال، هر دیده جای جلوه آن ماه پاره نیست. فرصت شمر طریقه رندی که این نشان، چون راه گنج بر همه کس آشکاره نیست. نگرفت در تو گریه حافظ به هیچ رو، حیران آن دلم که کم از سنگ خاره نیست. Love is the way no one can bypass. On that way one cannot but lose life. What time you give love is a good time. No need to hesitate on a good thing. Don't frighten us of prohibition of logic. That guard is no one in our town. Ask your eyes who is killing us. It is not the fault of fate or crime of stars. One can see him only by pure eyes like the fresh moon. Not every eye is a seat of glory of the one whose beauty is like the new moon. Seek simplicity but its sign, like the way of treasures is not clear to everyone. Hafiz's cries didn't touch you in any way. I wonder at the heart so like granite. Oh, one more poem. I'll read it in Farsi, in Persian first. با شاخه‌هایی در پیچشم از لخت شب به خود آویختند. ماه را استخوانی، سگ را اندیشه‌ای انداختند. راه را در درز کور راهی بیختند. از شب چو ارتقا یافتم، فانوس خود را به ضریح چه آویختم. ناقوس‌ها هشدار در دره آبی بین بهشت خدا، باز آفتاب را به دهنکجی و تفتیش گرفتند. تا عصاره عصری جدیدتر به خون خود ریخته اند. روح گنگ را از لابلای کفن اسمم دزدیدند. این بدرقه میان گل زعفران ریزان را کوتاه بریدند. بودی و نبودی خود خدای خود، ابلیس را می نشاندی سایه شریف خود. خدایت را به پای تخت خوانده اند، که راز دوگانگی را در زرورق کدام کابوس ناب یافتند. قبر مرا که گورکن می کند، قبر سایم را کجا انداختند. با مهتابی در ریزشان که از سرزنش به در آویختند. تا سلطه نیازهای خرد و ریز، تا انسانیت در قالب اولیه تکامل درگیر، تا انگشتان آسان قفل، تا تنگ زندگی، تا کلاغ هر جا قاصدک در گریز. اما که چه کاشی به کاشی خواب دیدم، از تخت عصیان دلهای گرفته سخت، دستان کبیر فاتحی برخاستند. I twist with branches that from the limp of the night hold onto themselves. They threw the moon a bone, the dog a thought. They threw the way into seams of a blind alley. When I got promoted from the night, at shrine to what did I hang my lantern? The bells warn in the blue valley between heaven and God. Again, they are interrogating the sun to pour till they will pour the essence of the newer age into their blood. They have stolen the soul of Ganges from the shroud of my name. This seeing off among falling saffron flowers is cut too short. Were you or not your own God, would you establish Iblis as your shadow? Iblis is the devil. They called your God to the capital, that they found the secret to duality in wrapping bags of which pure nightmare. When the grave diggers dig my grave, where do they throw my shadow's grave? I pour with the moon that hangs from the door, from blame, from dominance of small and smaller needs till humanity in its primitive stages of evolvement involved, to easy locking fingers. So what? I have dreamed from the rage of much oppressed hearts rise a pair of great victorious arms. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.